Welcome back to another episode of a Wanderer's Way podcast. I'm your host, Dustin. Today, we're going to actually do a review of the new Pokemon Legends Arceus, so stay tuned. Alright, so the new game, Pokemon Legends Arceus. So I actually pre-ordered this game digitally, and so I got to play it at 10 p.m. on Thursday the 27th. And I already beat the game. Well, the main storyline, let's see it that way. I haven't done everything in post-game yet, or all the extra researching stuff and whatnot. But I beat it in 21 hours. Now, I can't say it was easier than Sword and Shield, but it wasn't very hard either. There were some times when, I had a little difficulty, especially when you're battling Arc-9, because you have no room to dive, and sometimes you kind of get stuck there. But other than that, it wasn't too bad of a game. The storyline I actually thought was actually pretty decent. I feel like it could have gone 30 hours more for the story. And I heard they're also adding a DLC, probably be announced in April or something. So, I don't know. Hopefully it adds more to it. Because, really, after finishing the story, I actually kind of bored. I actually spent more time on Sword and Shield. It doesn't mean the game is bad. Honestly, the game is really good. It actually kept me motivated to keep playing the story. Whereas Sword and Shield, the story was kind of bland, But I still finished it. But I had way more hours when I finished too, because I did everything else on top of that. Now, this new game, Legends Arceus, it is really different from an original Pokemon storyline. The biggest part is that this game has a darker tone to it compared to what normal Pokemon games are like. Has a really dark tone. But I loved it. It felt more alive, I guess you can say. I do like the researching board. I do like, how you can take the requests and go to different areas, and it's wide open, and how you can throw the ball to catch Pokemon. I feel like the catch rating is actually better in this game than previous Pokemon games, especially with a regular Pokeball, as usually over level 25, it's very hard to catch a Pokemon with just a regular Pokeball, and I was catching level 50 Pokemon with a regular Pokeball. It'd take a couple tries, but not nearly as much as it would previous games. I do miss the double battles. I miss the trainer battles. I miss the gyms. So I feel like hopefully the next game they create will be like Arceus, except more updated for regular Pokemon style. So they have the gyms and the trainers and such like that. But let's get to the elephant in the room. I know what everyone wants to know. What do I think about the graphics? Well, let's leave it to reality. The graphics really aren't that good. They're not horrible, but they're really not that good, especially in this time era. However, it's not game breaking. Like, I enjoyed the game despite the low graphics. Now, when I picture Pokemon, I actually picture graphics to be very vibrant. So, like how Sword and Shield was, it was very vibrant. It was very good. But I was looking more for the graphics to be either like Breath of the Wild, which I think most people were like, or Monster Hunter Stories 2, which I love those graphics, absolutely phenomenal. However, how I feel about it is that I think they were just taking this experimental change to see what the reaction would be, and they didn't want to put a whole lot of resources into the game until they know how well it's sold and if people were really gonna buy it and really enjoy the new style of gameplay. So that's what I think they were doing. They just made it just enough to pass, but not enough to be like, holy crap, this is the greatest looking game ever on Switch or whatever, you know? So that's my theory. I don't know how true it is or whatnot, but that's what I believe. I really feel that they were experimenting to see if this would work for the coming games. Because, you know, this year is the 3rd year. They're going to be creating a new Pokemon generation, as they always do every 3 years. So I would say look forward to that probably maybe November, and they might keep the same kind of style of gameplay and whatnot, but, you know, hopefully update the graphics. Or even, hell, you can go right back to the Sword and Shield graphics. I love Sword and Shield graphics. I think they're absolutely amazing and very vibrant too, which fits the Pokemon style. However, outside of graphics, I didn't really have any performance issues or bugs that I found. Like, yes, in the far distance, you know, you could see the Pokemon not move very perfect, but, you know, it's far in a distance. What do you expect from a low-powered machine like the Nintendo Switch? But outside of that, the gameplay was fun. I really enjoyed it. I love the new catching system. I love the new battling system. It, you know, as I said, it wasn't the hardest game, but it definitely wasn't the easiest game. Sword and Shield was really easy. So this new system actually helped. And as I mentioned that I missed the double battles, I do. Because, man, did it piss me off sometimes when when you get to battle one Pokemon and then there's like 2 other ones there. So you have like 3 Pokemon ganging up on you. And if you're not at the highest level, you're gonna get kind of rocked there and you're gonna have trouble. But that's the other point I want to make about the battle system that I loved. The new agile and strength system, it really adds a new depth that helps the battling just really pull you in and makes you really want to battle and fight. So, for example, at the end, for the end game, I'm not going to tell you guys that because I'm not going to spoil it for whoever hasn't played it yet or gotten there. But at the end, my Pokemon, my best Pokemon was Typhlosion, which was level 50. Which, at the end, after everything's done, ended up 52. I was not prepared. In reality. The first time, I just managed to beat him. I was supposed to catch him. Damn it. So I had to redo it again. The problem is, with this new, or I can't say the problem, I guess it all depends how you look at it. But yes, part of the problem is that I was really low level. I was not where I was supposed to be to beat the end. But that's the good thing about the new battle system. It really actually helped me to just get there, just barely get there to knock it out of the park, win it. With that, you know, the characters, there were less characters than what there usually is for a regular Pokemon game. So it gave you more chance to really understand and see their characterization on them, and I feel like they spent more time with the character development. And I really enjoyed them. It was just different. I wasn't used to the fact that it's not a futuristic kind of style base, like the regular Pokemon games are. But I did like the story. Like, it actually was more intriguing than I thought it would be. The very beginning was like, it's probably gonna be a boring story. I came into it going, okay, it's probably going to be bland. That actually surprisingly captivates you when you get deeper into the story. And then the ending, you kind of get a couple surprises that I was like, oh, okay. Shinies seem to be easier to find too. You do have a research for Ponyta, but I made a mistake when I tried to catch one of the shinies, because I'm so used to pushing A, just go to the ball, push A through the whole damn battles or whatever. I made a mistake on one shiny. I changed it to go to the Pokeball. I went to go throw it. Instead, I went AA, and well, knocked him out. So there's that. I wasn't used to that because I'm so used to Pokemon over the years of pushing the same button to get through everything. And sometimes I do that through small battles. I'd be like, dee and just go through. This one was different. I keep forgetting that you push a different button to throw the Pokeball, and you change different things, and so on and so forth. All in all, though, I like the presentation of the game. I like the style of the game. I like the characters. I like the storyline. I think it was pretty good. I wouldn't give it such a very high rating, like a 10 or a 9, but I would give it about I would go about 8.7 out of 10 in my opinion, because the graphics should have been improved upon. Seeing that it is Pokemon, it's a Pokemon company, they have enough resources and money to establish that. I know they're kind of out of their realm a little bit, but when you take a look at their previous game, Sword and Shield, and how amazing those graphics were, how vibrant they were, how clear they were, this kind of takes that rating down for Pokemon Legends Arceus, because they should have done it. I know they probably were thinking that it's not going to sell that well because it's experimental and people may not like it. But these graphics should have been improved. Heck, they should have already been to Breath of the Wild, because we've seen games with amazing, fantastic graphics on there, even though it's an older system, or should I say low-powered system. You have open worlds like Monster Hunter Stories 2, and then you have Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Those are very popular, very high-intensive graphic-looking games that actually pretty much run very well on the Nintendo Switch. So, seeing how it's Pokemon, I feel they should have at least had their graphics at least to the standards of Sword and Shield. At the minimum, that's my opinion. But with that being said, though, it doesn't take away the fantastic gameplay and the style of the game, and it doesn't take away from how the story plays out. The Pokemon do look good in there. You have some frame rate drops in the background and whatnot, but it's not so bad. Nothing's game breaking whatsoever. So I'm looking forward to the DLC. I'm hoping the DLC will be something that adds more Pokemon, because there's really not a whole lot of Pokemon. And I kind of feared that, because when I pre-ordered it and the week before it downloaded to my system, I went to check to see what the size was, and it said it was 6 gigabytes. And I was like, wait a second. 6 gigabytes. This is supposed to be like an open world kind of deal. And digitally for Sword and Shield, that was before the DLCs was 10 gigs or something, maybe 9. So that was higher. And then not only that, but Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the previous games here that were remakes, they were higher in the gigabytes in the space. That was like 6.8 gigabytes, almost 7 gigs, and it was more than what Legend Arceus is. So I kind of got worried on that. I was like, oh, why is it so low for a big game? Obviously, they have less Pokemon, and the graphics are downgraded. I'm surprised how wide open everything is, and for the low of space. So if they're going to do another deal that's going to have another 30 hours at least or something like that for a DLC, it would be worth it. But I'm hoping they can surprise us with like maybe returning to current times of Sinnoh and going through everything. I don't know. That would be cool. But I don't see that coming. I see them just adding in more Pokemon and some extra stories and research stuff, but I don't see it being in a huge expansion though. But it would be cool. But man, I feel we still need a game that has every single region together, an MMO based. Yes, I'm gonna keep throwing this out until they listen. However, Yes, so Pokemon Legends Arceus, I think, is a fantastic game and one of the best in this series, with a little bit of downfalls in certain areas like graphics and whatnot, and not enough Pokemon, as the Pokédex is like, what, 200 something? So it's very low. I expected higher standards for certain things, but however, when it comes to the gameplay and the story, I think that is one of the better Pokemon games out there, and I'll be surprised if this doesn't sell right below Sword and Shield in number 4 spot. If it surpasses Sword and Shield, it's very possible, but I don't see it passing in the number 2 to surpass Silver and Gold, to be honest. But we'll see what the DLC brings and see if that helps change it. But with that being said, you guys have a wonderful week, and next episode, I'll be reviewing another new game.